Good morning, Abs.
How are you?
It's morning for me. I'm feeling kind of like medium energy. Um, I'm just telling myself I'm okay, but I went for a ride yesterday with Gabe, and it was probably 6 degrees and pouring rain. And we went for 3 hours, and it was like coming up was okay because you're working hard and your body's warming up, but coming down was freezing. I couldn't feel my hands.
Wow,
Soaked to the
miserable.
bone, absolutely soaked to the bone. And yeah, feeling like I got hit a little bit, but I'm not getting sick. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm just yeah, my body's recouping
Mm,
behind the scenes.
yeah. Is he all right?
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, it was their bike group. They go over. There was like, I don't know, 12 kids. They were all bitching and complaining, and I went on my own ride and bumped into them up the top of the mountain and ended up riding down with them. And
Mm,
yeah, we had to keep stopping and like doing all these like windmills
right.
with our hands trying to get the blood moving because we were just drenched. And then the
And
cold
you're not
wind.
you're not getting paid for this?
I know, it's pleasure, pain pleasure.
I
It's like
feel like so much has happened. Like we were going to catch up after Chris Williamson dropped his documentary on
9,
his health,
right? And we never
and
did.
you did a podcast on your own. Did you talk about that?
No, I talked about Chris Williamson's 999 podcast a fair bit, which was just kind of the best of the last 100 podcasts he's done. Which seems crazy, right? Like we're on podcast number 36 and he's on number 1,000 in
And Joe
7 years.
Rogan's on 2,500.
Yeah. But I think Chris said he does a post every single day, which means he doesn't do a podcast every day, but he probably does 2 podcasts a week.
Mm.
And holy shit, that's a lot.
But that's his job.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a team of 25 people that is coordinating all of that. Like he's all
Yeah, and
in.
I think that's only since he started doing live shows in front of people. But I think for
Mm,
probably 5 of those 7 years he was by himself. But
mm,
it's a lot of yeah, like I think to get to the place where he's got to now, he's got momentum. So now like people want to be, because now they see, oh well, if I've got a book that I've just published, what's the
mm,
5 places I can get most ears on it? Well, he's one of them now, right? So now he doesn't
mm.
have to pedal so hard.
Definitely.
But I think to start, he had to like, would you please? I know I don't have many people watching me. Would you
Mm,
please come on my podcast? That kind of shit can get pretty tiring, I think.
mm.
But he's put in the
Well,
hard
if you
work
think
now.
about it, for the more conservative leaning person, I would say it's Lex Friedman, Chris Williamson, Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson. Who else would be top? Like conservative-ish
Megyn
people. I
Kelly,
noticed that when they've come out with something, they'll do a tour of those podcasts. Like
right?
they'll do a run of those. And
You know, Lex on. I think Lex is still completely solo. He does everything himself. He does his cameras himself. He does his producing himself.
no wonder he
Yeah,
looks so depressed.
I know. I
It's
know.
hasty. It's just like when you.
Black
It's like, oh,
background.
it's going to be heavy.
I know. Let's talk about the gulags.
I know. Let's talk about communism.
Yeah. I put together this kids story compilation. First one, we're going to talk about the gulags. Tuck yourself up into bed, kids.
Yeah, yeah. Next, we're going to talk about teenage suicide. It's
Yeah,
just like, wow. But
gonna nod you off to sleep with my
he's very thoughtful
yeah.
and measured, whereas I think Chris Williamson is a wordsmith and
Mm,
he's very feminine, actually. I think Chris Williamson has got that romantic, poetic,
mm.
very philosophical, dreamy, he's like wanting to unpack the mysteries of the world.
Yeah, I mean, he has a. I listen. I listen to his way of like. I'm like, man, he can really track with people that have really deep, philosophical answers to his questions, and he tracks with it. Whereas I'm kind of holding on for dear life,
Mm,
trying to figure out what they're saying.
yeah.
And then you've got yeah, I mean yeah, and you've got Rogan who just doesn't do anything really, he just shows up and has a conversation. But the Rogan's got this natural gift of curiosity, like genuine. Tell me more about that. How did you get? Which is natural born talent, I guess, to be genuinely curious about things.
But he also knows so much about so much. When you listen to him talk,
Now
the
he
level he's a nerd on so many levels. Like, he
Well, I
knows so
remember
much.
his early stuff was like, so it was all interesting and everything, but now I really notice now when he responds to people, he's got such a lexicon of like information that he actually sounds really smart now. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a bit of a goon before, right? Like, getting high and talking about fighting, and it was comical, but now he's actually, I mean, so many thousands of hours of conversations with the
Mm,
best of the best.
yeah.
Um,
Well, he
yeah,
used to
I
call
still
himself a
I
meathead,
still
but I
did get
don't
into
think do you? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's interesting. But the, documentary on Chris Williamson's health was, it's always just really interesting when you find out what people are really dealing with and how much
Yeah,
you just don't know about people's personal lives and their struggles.
yeah, yeah. No, I was surprised to hear of all of that, and I don't think he's out of the woods yet, even though now you hear him and he's all uppity, bubbly, and full of beans. I guess he still hasn't figured it all out,
No.
so he digs
But
really deep.
he's been like that throughout because no one would have guessed what he was dealing with. So,
Yeah, and he doesn't like whining about himself, right? He doesn't like talking
mhm,
about. He's kind of like toughen up
mm,
kind of personality. So yeah, yeah, it's got to be wild to have a sickness that you can't figure out what on earth it is.
man, just excruciating.
Yeah,
But I think my takeaway was life has a way of cornering you on your core fear, and his is the brilliance of his mind has created a career for himself, and he enjoys his own mind, and that's under threat with the Lyme disease and the mold uh, exposure that he can't think properly.
mm,
And I just think it's so ironic that in life you get your back against the wall and you will have your core fear brought to your attention. It's like, wow, the athlete who gets injured and it's his one passion. And then he has to make that journey of coming to terms with his injury, and then all of us get old. So that's a fear of all of ours, the death thing. But it's just interesting how these themes, where it's often the one thing that even with Jordan Peterson right now with neurological issues, the brilliance of his mind is what's created his career. And now he can't talk. It sounds as if he's pretty well incapacitated and in a coma of sorts,
yeah.
and you
It's
think,
wild that
how
him and
ironic.
in the yeah, and it was both mold, right? Like Jordan it was mold.
And Michaela Peterson. So all three of them have had toxic mold exposure.
I know. I messaged my oldest son Raven. He's in a basement suite that's for sure got mold in it, and he's like,
Really?
"Oh, Dad, yeah, I know it's got mold, but I can't. I can't. There's nothing else I can do." And it sounds like it comes back to haunt you later on.
It sounds as if you combine that with another thing and another thing and another thing, it reaches tipping point and then it breaks through into your health.
Mm,
That what he was suggesting is that probably if we all got toxicity tests done, we would be like, ooh, that's a bit high. You've got, a bit of asbestos that you were exposed to, or whatever, lead, and then for him, he got COVID and it was the tipping point for all of these other health things that his body was fighting to kind of break into his reality and take him out.
mm,
And I think it was the same for Jordan, is that he stayed in a musty hotel that obviously had some mold in it or something was going on, and then he just deteriorated. And it's the same with allergies. So people can have a cat allergy, but their body doesn't, it keeps it under wraps until the tree pollen starts. And then suddenly it's too many allergies. And then it's
mm.
like full blown. And then suddenly you can't tolerate the cat anymore. And it just reaches like that critical point where your body's just kind of malfunctioning because now, it's tree pollen season. So now my cat allergies just through the roof.
Mm.
And that seems to be how the body's like constantly trying to manage all of the stuff that's getting thrown at us. And it does quite well until something tips it too far.
Yeah, I mean, when you listen to JFK talk about what was his slogan, it's like we were swimming in a toxic soup of toxicity or something like that, and it's like I was just watching on my Instagram feed this. I think he was a famous mountain biker, or some kind of extreme sports kid, and he's got like stage 4 cancer now, and he believes it's from glyphosate, and so he's just trying to bring so much. I think he worked on a farm. He's trying to bring so much attention to the glyphosate issue, which we all know is there. But, I mean, I was doing a job the other day and I'm like, I didn't test the drywall. And I'm like, there's a chance there could be a little bit of asbestos in this mud, but it's only 2 sheets that I'm taking off. And
Right.
you kind of think after, I gotta stop doing that. But
Mm.
it's such a pain in the ass going to get your mask. And then you've got like ear protection, eye protection, mouth protection, and they're all getting tangled up in each other. And but then retrospectively you think, oh, well, why am I so stupid? Like, just stop and slow down and get your mask. And and then the neighbor might spray his crops and it comes wafting over on the wind. And you
Well,
know
you're fucked.
it's amazing. We're still like,
Yeah, you sleep on a bed that's full of glues that are binding the mattress together, and you're lying there 12 hours a night, and it's like, ah. That's why I can see why people just go, well, everything's going to kill us, whatever. I just can't live that way anymore. Just enough. I can't live in fear of all of these things, like the plastics, the glyphosate, the chemtrails, and this and that. It's just too
mm,
much to pay attention to and to
mm.
remove yourself from. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, the
something
worry
that
the worry will
I've
kill
been
you
thinking.
faster than that.
Right, and the people who live beyond 100 probably live in less toxic environments. They're in the Mediterranean, but they probably drink a bottle of wine a day and pasta and do the things that we try hard not
Mm,
to do. And they're like, well, happiness is the key. And you're like, God damn it, that happiness thing. It's just like, well, I can't do much about
yeah.
that. Only
In the
happy
Middle
people
Ages, they
live
didn't
over
know if there.
100. Well, we're fucked.
I know, I know. And then we're watching the House of Guinness right now. Have you seen
Oh,
that show on
yeah,
Netflix?
I've started it.
Yeah. So there's a lot about the famine of Ireland, right, which was kind of brought on by the Blight, and then the British just didn't help them, and millions of them died, I guess. But
Mm.
there was always something, right? It wasn't like a corrupt king coming in and slaughtering people. And
Mm. But that was,
yeah.
from what I gather, I haven't done a deep dive, but that blight was actually intentional and it was planted there. Just
Hmm.
like there's that theory about Lyme disease through ticks, that it's a kind of, uh, what do you call it, like weaponized poison that the government intentionally created blight.
Yeah, that might have been the case, but then the potatoes that were good got shipped off to England, so the bad ones were just left with nothing, so they started starving. And then the British said, "Oh, we'll help you out," and they gave them corn, and they'd never had corn. It was a foreign product on their land, and it was very hard to digest, the old corn they gave them, and so it made them even sicker.
Right.
And it was just, well, it was pretty much like a genocide.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've heard, that it was an intentional genocide.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, that's been going on for thousands of years then. Almost all of these
We're
things
still
are
doing it,
political.
right? We're
Yeah.
still genociding people. I was listening to someone talk the other day, and they were said, we've never stopped. The Western world has never stopped colonizing. It's done with colonizing countries. Now it's moving to colonize your mind. So the
Mm,
new social media AI is intent is to colonize your mind, and it's so true, right?
mm,
It's like taking up more and more real estate
yeah.
of our
Mm,
time. I
yeah.
mean, we had a power cut the other day. The power went out, and I had been working all day outside. And when I'm occupied, I don't look at my phone. I don't care, But when I come in, it's like have a cup of tea, jump on the phone, and see what's going on, right? And then there was a power outage, and Gabe was like, didn't know what to do with himself. Kept checking his little iPad,
Mhm.
and it wasn't working. And we were kind of like, just do something. And I was like, I feel you, Gabe. I feel you. I was like,
Mm.
I'm sitting here not knowing what to do with myself either, And
We
I'm
want
like, when I was,
dopamine. Let someone give us some dopamine.
yeah. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're a child or an adult. It's
Mm,
like that boredom, what numbs you out, right? It just kind of
mm.
numbs you out.
Well, it's
Like
a
you can
way for
escape.
me of relaxing. Like, I feel like I can justify scrolling because I'm relaxing now. It's my version of relaxing. I'm not going to pick up a book, or I don't want to get stuck into a project.
Mm,
I need to switch off my mind and relax. And so I associate it with downtime, chill
right.
time. reward. It's a reward,
Right.
really, for my hard work.
Yeah, and it is, yeah, I guess.
It
I
was
was just trying to find this, post that I who did, it's this really famous actor, he's got this new TV show, and he's teaching did you see that one I posted? And he's teaching a classroom of kids?
yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a good one.
Yeah.
Thought provoker. But he's teaching them about how their minds are being taken over by, these devices.
It's
Yeah, and
interesting
I was
because
like,
I
yeah.
was thinking the other day, slightly segue, but how much, as much as we've advanced, I'm thinking about my own life. And, we talk a lot about men and women and primal instincts and stuff. And I heard this guy say, um, women don't care about the suffering of men. They just hang out at the finish line, picking out the winners. And he was basically saying women are brutal. They don't care if men are suffering or not. We just want the winners who are going to provide for us and take care of us. And I thought, gosh, that's a really brutal statement. Is that true for me? Do I actually care about the suffering of men?
You're
Or
talking
am I
about
only,
male human beings,
yeah, just like
not
generally,
mankind.
you're just mankind in general,
Oh, okay.
or or if you were choosing a mate, or if you're in a marriage, do you actually care if your partner's suffering, or do women just want a man to show up, suppress all of that? I don't want to know about the suffering, just deliver, provide, um, basically be a winner all day long. I need you to be a winner, else I'm not interested, is basically what he was saying.
Who was saying
And
this?
it was a guy called, I can't remember his name. He's a very red pill guy, so he's more on the kind of, um, I wouldn't know how to describe it, but those Andrew Tate types that
So
are,
explain to me, what is the difference between a red pill and blue pill? Because I honestly don't know. I
well,
mean, I know it's from the Matrix.
people would consider someone like Andrew Tate to be a red pill guy because he's awake to the system, but also, how
Right.
they'll talk about women in this. Women want winners. Women are only interested in winners. Don't kid yourself, men. You know, um, it's this much harsher, I think,
Mm,
view of the male and women kind of relationship with each other. It's
mm.
not very nuanced. Like, I found it a bit, it's hard to describe because I haven't really spent a lot of time in the red pill zone, but I would say that Andrew Tate would be a classic red pill guy who's not going to mince his words when it comes to what he thinks women and men want in life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
And
when
so he would say
when you
women want men with money. You've got to earn lots of money. You've got to go to the gym. You've got to learn lots of money. Women aren't interested in losers. Get out there, get your ass in shape, get a job. It's this kind of, women should also be kind of somewhat subservient. You should protect them. You should be the man who's making the rules up. We're doing this, we're bushwhacking, here, we're going this way. Very decisive.
mm,
That's the impression I get. I could get that wrong, but when I've
mm,
listened to these guys, they've got a very strong idea about men should be this like macho masculine, women should
mm,
be there to, you've got to show leadership. Like, that's the vibe I get when I listen to these guys. And so it challenged me because I thought, is that true for me? Do I care about the suffering of men? And am I only interested in life, whether it be a partner or any male interaction? Am I only interested in winners, men who are basically succeeding in life and who are just, they call it signaling resource. So
mm,
women will pick men that are taller than them, that have a higher IQ, and that signal resource. So this guy's going places, he can provide for me, he's going to have money, I want security, I need stability. These would be, like, I would agree, the core things that women are looking for. And
mm,
I just started to unpack it, and I just thought, for me, it depends what you see as weakness, but I don't see vulnerability as weakness, whereas some women might. So if you're
mm.
struggling because you're in a job and you want to go self-employed and you're scared of jumping into that, I would see that as you being vulnerable, that you're just like, man, I don't know what to do. And, or you've suffered a childhood trauma and you share it. Those things I don't see as weakness. I see them as vulnerability. So I would judge
Mm.
that as a strength. Whereas some people might judge vulnerability, like men seem to often judge vulnerability as weakness, right?
Mm.
Like where you go, I'm really struggling with this right now. So then I thought, what do I class as weakness in men? Because the reason I wanted to unpack this is I've noticed this mechanism in myself where I'll be talking to a man. And when I say a man, it's like a friend. I'm not interested in a relationship. This person is just, might be you. It could be my neighbor. It could be the dad of a child, or it might be someone who I'd be interested in. And I can sense my opinion of them going up and down, up and down. Like,
Mm.
I'm assessing them on their
Mm.
strengths, because I think women are looking for protectors. And what I've realized is I'm not just looking for a protector in my primary partner. Every man I meet, I'm assessing them about whether they could protect me or not. And it's just like a man would look at a woman's physique and go, could she bear children for me? Even though I've got all my children, I've had the snip and I don't need any more. You're still assessing a
Mm.
woman on that
Mhm.
primal like thing. And I've
Mm.
tried to find the equivalent of that, because I know men do that. What do women do? And and the reason why I've asked myself that question is because I lost some male friendships during lockdown because we had disagreements over COVID. And I
Mm.
realized that I became so intolerant to what I perceived as weakness in them that I didn't
Mm.
care if I ever spoke to them again. And I
Mm.
kind of started unpacking that. I'm like, why is that mechanism so strong? So, for example, after the mask mandates lifted, me and my girlfriends went out to a pub. And I would say about 20 to 30% of men were still wearing masks, even though the mask mandate had lifted. And we all joked and we said, oh, that's actually really helpful because now we can see who the beta males are. You know, the beta males are the males that are so neurotic that they've bought into this completely and they're going to
Yeah.
still wear their masks. We would
Mm.
instantly discount them as being men of interest to us. And that
Mhm.
moment really stuck with me because I thought, for all of us women, it's like they're out, neurotic men who've bought into this bullshit. And
Mm.
I realized that what I see as weakness in men is, say, for example, when they have high neuroticism, because I need a man to signal strength. So
Mhm.
where there were conversations I had during lockdown where men really bought into the whole bullshit, the reason why this mechanism was triggered is subconsciously I was going, this man can't protect me. He's neurotic.
Mm.
He's in
Mhm.
fear and he's not signaling strength to me. He's showing me his weakness. And I would literally subconsciously feel myself going, don't do what you're about to do because you're just about to show me you're weak. And then this mechanism is going to trigger and you are out. You are out and
Mm.
you are so gone. There's no coming back from that, mate. Like at all, because it's a primal response.
Mm.
So, and the same thing I've noticed, I'm like, where else do I see that? So me and my girlfriend have got this male friend and he's single and he just got injured recently. And it was
Mm.
what you would consider to be a minor injury. Like he's hurt his finger, basically the top of his finger got
Mhm.
chopped off. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
created so much trauma for him. He like cradles his arm and both of us have gone, that guy's sex appeal is in the pits. He's just ruined any chance of getting a woman because he's being precious over himself. And we've been discussing like, what is it? Why is his signal of basically like, I suppose, yeah, he's precious over himself. What we want men to do is go, well, put some like sticky
Rub
tape
some
over
dirt
it.
in it.
Yeah, back to work. Because we want them to signal that they're strong and stoic. And when a man
Mm.
cradles his arm and goes, I don't know if I'm ever going to recover from this, but I've just been laid up for, but you know, they're like weak. I'm like, dude, you just blew it.
Mm.
Like you blow it
Mm.
so bad, you're never coming back from this. And so it shows that when I listen to men talk about women, they're just as brutal because they'll
Oh,
assess a
yeah.
woman based on their physical look and just throw out a woman. Yeah, well, her hips are too big anyway, so forget it. And you're just like, whoa, she's gone. Like, poor woman. She just got assessed in 10 seconds. Nope. So I'm not going to feel bad about how brutal I am because I know men are just as brutal when it comes to this assessment of the
Mhm.
opposite sex and like who is mate worthy or not. But I realize another thing is when a man says he's going to do something and doesn't do it, it's another
Right.
show of weakness. So I've got guys who will say, oh, if Trump gets voted in, that's it, I'm leaving the country. Or if Carney gets voted in, I'm leaving the country. They're not going anywhere. Or
Yeah.
oh, when Johnny gets a job, I'm going to start charging him rent. Just use, yeah, he's through the nose. If he's
Yeah.
staying home, he's charging rent. I'm charging him rent. And then I'll check in on them and be like, so are you charging Johnny rent? Well, I should be. You should see the food he's eating these days. And you're like, you're
Mhm.
full of shit. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to say something, stick to it because you're just telling me don't expose your weakness like that to me. I don't want men to be weak. I want them to be
Mhm.
strong. I want them to show they're men of their word, that they're stoic, that they're not neurotic, that even if they're afraid, they're going to go out and meet the bear and take the bear on, no matter how terrified. If they're like quivering behind the door and then I have to be strong, they're done. Like they're out because men need, and I've realized women desperately want men to be strong. Like, don't be weak. Please don't be weak. Please be a man of your word. Even if I disagree with you and you're saying we need to do something, and like you moving to the farm and you like
Mm.
bushwhacking that vision into being, even
Mm.
if there's like resistance, secretly deep down, I believe women want that person to be like strong and say, I'm going to do what I
Mm.
said I was going to do. Even if you don't
Mm.
like it, I think this is right. And
Mm.
I'm a man of my word. And I believe, you're a man of conviction or whatever. And so it's really helped me understand that mechanism that I can't actually control very well. And I talk to other women about it and they
Mm.
can't control it either. We're constantly
Mm.
assessing men on, are they going to do what they say they're going to do? Are they going to show me neuroticism? Don't do that. Please don't do that. Are they going to be precious over themselves when they injure themselves? We desperately
Mm.
want them to show strength. And when they don't, they're just going, and I'm sure that women do that to men in other ways.
Mm.
So that's me
Interesting.
wanting to cheerlead men going, I want you to be strong. And I am not, when that man said women don't care about the suffering of men, they just hang out at the finish line, picking out the winners. I would
Mm.
say that's not nuanced enough. I would say vulnerability is strength. And when a man shares his struggle, I see that as strength. But if you're going to show your weakness through, that's the part of the suffering that women don't want to know about. Like, yes, you're terrified to go out and shoot the bear and face the moose or whatever the thing is, the big thing coming at you. But to do it anyway is the winner. That's
Mm.
men being the winner.
Yeah.
Is in spite of my
Yeah.
fear.
Well, I mean, it makes me, yeah.
What?
Well, it makes me feel good about myself because I'm very much like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't feel shits about myself. I think that there's in the marketplace of ideas or the world we live in now, that there is a vein, probably the red pill vein more, where people are just talking about these animalistic, how we were created, at the core of who we are as human beings. Like I was saying
Mm.
to a guy the other day, I can't remember what we were talking about, but I'm like, I think oh yeah, it was my electrician came over and we were talking about listening to some podcaster on like sex, and he's a married guy. And I said, I was at the beach, I don't know, 6 months ago when it was warm. And, I could see in the distance too far for me to even make out what it was. It could have been a rock for all I know. But all it was this curve, right?
We
It was
talked
a
about
woman's
this.
hips.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like when you're hunting and you see a deer in the middle of the forest. They tell you when you hunt, don't only look for the shape of a deer because it's so difficult in the forest because it looks so much like a piece of forest. A deer, it's extremely hard to see. It could be staring right at you, and like you got to in your eyes, you got to see the shape of a deer, and then you will see the deer in the forest. And I'm like, I didn't put that inside me. It's just like when I scanned over the beach, all I noticed
Mm.
was this little like thing like that. What is
Yeah.
that? Is that because I'm a pervert? No, it's because that's a God-given, like, she can probably bear children. Like,
Yeah.
why do we like those curves? It's not because we're, you know, misogynistic and
No,
sex addicts. It's because,
it's
it's not like I
ancient.
was going to walk over to there and say, "Hey, lady, you
Mm,
want to get laid?" It was
mm,
just like, whoa, and it was like a piece of art right there. It just jumped out amongst all the sea of other things that was there.
mm,
And I think that's lacking in the conversation. I even notice it in my own household. There's this pussyfooting around realities,
mm,
just like plain and simple realities, because there's been such a massive pressure on us to be politically correct and make sure all the bases are covered and no one's offended. And it's like, no,
mm,
no, I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just trying to shed light on realities.
mm,
And that reality of a woman waiting at the finish line for a strong man, I think I think like my wife has gotten so used to me, Tara has gotten so used to me being the one that's got, like Gabe said the other day, they came downstairs and there was a nail that came in a 2x4, came swinging down, went straight into my arm. And then I pulled it out of my arm and blood came squirting out. And I just wrapped a piece of rag around it and kept on demoing, right?
yeah,
And that's just Joby to
yeah,
my family. So they've gotten so used to it. But then when friends come over, they tell Tara like, "Oh man, I wish my husband like got shit done like
mm,
your husband does or whatever."
yeah.
Um, and then you kind of think, oh yeah, but yeah, she's lived with it for so long that I think she's gotten used. But um, I find that my respect for other males in the spectrum, when there's a kind of whingy whininess, a lack of doing what you say you're going to do, it really, in my on my scale, you kind of start dropping down
Yeah, they
levels.
lose data
Um,
points, and men are doing it to men, and women are doing it to women. I think, whether women want to admit it or
mm,
not, we're assessing a man as whether he could protect us, which is why I would never go date someone who's shorter than me because he couldn't protect me. And those very normal, like we accept that women want men that are taller than them, that have a higher IQ, and it's probably an inconvenient, very ancient genetic thing that we also want a man who can signal that they're stoic and are strong enough to protect. Even though
mm,
there's no wars or Vikings showing up on our shore, I'm still assessing them like, are you a man of your word? Are you riddled with neuroticism and anxiety and fear? Because that is not a quality that I need from a man. You need to show that even if it's a genuine plague, I wouldn't consider COVID to have been a genuine plague. But if there was one, I would still want a man to be more, more kind of, I don't know what to show that, to do a show of strength and go,
mhm.
you know,
Well,
I
especially
my
with COVID, for instance, it was that intimidation that was coming from the top down.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that cowered under it. Well, this whole doing the right thing really means that you're just getting pussy whipped.
Well, exactly. I
You know,
thought was
it's
fine
like,
with
oh, you
men
big
who'd
pussy.
said, well, yeah, I mean, this is the hard part is there were men who said, I know this is bullshit, but I have to get it because I have to provide for my family. And I maintained respect for them because I thought they've got their eyes wide open, but they have their hands tied because
Mm,
they've been put in a bad position, but they are saying to me, this is bullshit. But I have to do what I have to do in order to survive. I'm like, okay, fine.
mhm,
You've kept your status. Men who are like, you got to marry my, are you going to get a job? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh man, you don't, please don't say you've bought into this. Like, this is a disaster for
mhm,
mankind. If men are believing this shit and who are really like hook, line, and sinker, because
mhm,
what it showcased to me is that they've got an underlying neuroticism and an anxiety that they haven't mastered, and that they're basically, oh wow, you're susceptible, or you're not critical thinking enough, like you haven't thought this through, you haven't done your research, you're buying into it. It signaled so many things on so many levels.
It's a lack of independence, isn't it? Because you're really deep down, you want to be told what to do. And I think what a woman is maybe looking for is a man to say, no, no, I'm going this way. And
mm,
I mean, they said that like when push comes to shove, what is it like 85% of people would rather be told what to do.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and and so I think that yeah, that signals a childlikeness almost. What should I do, mummy? What should I do, daddy? Like,
Well,
and
it shows a
but
lack of
I
inner
wonder what.
strength,
Yeah.
where they're going, I'm easily swayed and moved by what's coming at me. And I admired men who, regardless of what was coming at them, they either said, this is bullshit and I have to comply for my family, or this is bullshit and I am not complying. And then they got double
Mm,
respect from me because I was like,
mm.
they're strong. Like they
What
felt
I think from a
safe.
man to a man, I'm reminded of your ex partner. Um, we won't go down that rabbit trail too long, but like, the lack of respect before your
Yeah.
marriage started going squirrely of
Yeah.
this like showcasing as some kind of like, strong bushman.
Mm,
But deep down in my scent, when it's funny because our cat, we have a male cat, Tiger, and he keeps going over to the neighbor's house who has a female cat, and they keep getting in fucking scraps. And usually males fight with males, right? And she's a cute little Sophie. She's a cute little cat, and Mike, it keeps waking them up. It's swatting at the window. Like, what
wow.
gives? Like, and it's like there's something chemical going on between those two cats that you cannot explain. Like, usually a male will fight with a male for territory, but this is a female cat. And there's other cats in the neighborhood, but it's that cat specifically. There's a something between the two of them that's not working. And I can sense in another man, your ex, for example, who would
Mm,
who would all over social media would flex his muscles and show himself as like some kind of Viking strong alpha male, but inside me my spidey senses were going off like it's fake, it's
mm.
fake, it's like alarm bells, it's like I could smell it, like it's this funny kind of like animal thing, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
which is exactly what I'm
yeah,
referring to. And
it's
I
not
don't think you
real.
can control that. I don't think that mechanism is anything you can control. So when my opinion of a man is taking a nosedive, I'll talk to my girlfriends and we're like, we can't stop this from happening. Their Our opinion of that
No.
person is now in the gutter because he showed his weakness and now he's done. And if
Mm,
we were in a position where we were in a mating, like that guy would be out. He would be ostracized
yeah,
from the community of women because he hasn't
it's a
showcased
turnoff.
that he can provide, like protect. Because if you're not strong enough to be able to say, okay, I know what I'm going to, or strong enough to have injury and then just carry on regardless, like I'm screwed. I'm weaker than
Mm,
you are, physically weaker. And
mm,
what it's signaling to me is that I have to be stronger than that man.
mm,
I have to be all the things that he's not showcasing. So I have to be like, okay, bushwhacking essentially.
mm,
And
mm.
I can do that, but it brings
Well,
out
I
the
think,
masculine in me and I don't enjoy it.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting though because, well, there's a couple of things I want to say. One is like when you live with a man who's very like that, which I consider myself probably to be. Um, you're What happens in a relationship though is that you slowly start to want that and the other thing as well. I wish you were more in touch
Mm,
with your feelings, and I wish you were more affectionate, and so that just happens, right? Like you want your cake and then you want to eat it too.
mm,
And that becomes, I mean, I think we live in a world. I'm going to be talking to Todd again coming up here, and he's like, "What do you want to talk about?" And I was like, "I want to talk about, what happens to a person who had all these aspirations of being like a leader and a warrior and all this thing, and then all of a sudden he's just got to like put food on the table for his family and go work at Safeway at the cash out. Like,
mm,
how do you equal that?" And I find myself torn constantly about beating myself up about my strengths, and wanting to re- and focusing so much on my weaknesses, which, because really the world at the moment is encouraging, is discouraging probably to the male kind of alpha. I mean, you're right wing and should be living in Texas if that's the way you think, right?
mm. Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of encouragement. I mean, there is more in the valley here that I've noticed, but this effeminate type of male role is more encouraged than the other.
Mm,
Um, you know, I think it's just because we have so many luxuries around us that we have the luxury of wanting, you know, a man who's kind of like effeminate, because we
mm,
don't need a man to go hunt, and we don't need a man to chop the tree down, and we don't need the man to protect the bear at the door. 'Cause we don't have all those things anymore. So our lives have become so luxurious that now it's like, well, all I really want is a man that's going to cuddle up on the couch with me and watch a movie, because there is no other dangers. There is no dangers.
right.
Um,
And I'm basically
but,
saying I
but
think
as soon as you
that
pull all that
that
away,
yeah.
well, as soon as you
Well, I
pull all that away, then we get down to the raw, I want a strong alpha. Oh, right. So you want it now.
yeah. But the thing is, women will always want more. Men want to earn more money. Women want more from their relationship. Like they'll always want, well, yeah, I got this, but I want that. You know, of course, that's just a men will have the big thing, but want the bigger thing. I don't think that's going anywhere fast. So
Want another
if you were
handbag.
well, if you were signaling strength, but they want you to be vulnerable, women are always going to be like, well, that husband over there is vulnerable. Can't you be a bit more like him? And men are going to look at other men's wealth and want
Mm,
that. I mean, envy is literally like the thing that makes the whole world kind of move forward, doesn't it? It's like wanting what someone else has all day long. So I don't,
mhm,
I agree that you're basically
mm,
showcasing probably the most ancient masculine that women truly do need and want, but also they want a ton of other stuff too. They're like kid in the cat, like, I want that, I
yeah.
want that, I want it. It's like,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
yeah, there's no getting away from that,
it's funny,
of
I heard
that.
this, slice of reality was like, man will do whatever it takes to get laid.
Yeah.
And, um, it's a woman, and so what a woman is projecting what a man should be, he will subconsciously, morph himself into that if it means that he's gonna get laid. So if
Right.
you're projecting that you want a man to be, more effeminate,
Right.
you know, stay at home with the kids, I go work, he will bend to that, it because subconsciously he's doing the math of how,
Mm,
if this means I'm gonna get
yeah.
in bed with her
Yeah.
more often, then he will do that. So it's up to the women to make the demands of what a man needs to do to get laid, and he will then change
Yeah.
to do that. So this guy was basically saying, you've, sorry ladies, but you've kind of created the monster in a
Mm,
way, because a
yeah.
man is just very, very two-dimensional.
Yeah.
And if you say, you know, you got to hop on one leg and wear pink shorts,
Yeah.
that's going to get you, he will start doing that
Mm.
because he's very two-dimensional.
And then the women
Um,
will complain and say, "Oh, he's just got no backbone. He's so weak." You know, now that he's doing the things that I wanted him to do, it's not attractive. Like Bill Burr, one of his bits is when you hear a man say he's a male feminist, there is no lower point that a man will go to get pussy than calling himself a male feminist. Like that is the that is the lowest of the low. How can you have a male feminist? You're never going to be a female. So how would you know? You're just saying that because you want to get laid. And there's nothing lower that a man can do than being a male feminist to get it. So basically, what he's saying, what you're saying, which is a man is going to morph himself into, will she touch it now if I say that I'm a male feminist, you know? And expecting women to
mhm,
go, yeah, I really want a male feminist. But actually, by that time, they've totally emasculated themselves. But men probably take women at what face value and go, well, she said that. That's what I'm getting signaled. So I'm going to run around and do that. Now is it going to happen? And that's why the strength part to me is be who you are designed to be, and the type of women who like that would come to you. I imagine I'd be going, okay, that's my, and there might be women out there that find it really attractive to have a man that's like what you're describing. But like you say, men will morph into what they think a woman wants for their primary aims. And it's all really ancient and it's not really changed probably too much.
yeah.
But
I caught
it's
bits of that
interesting
because
to
it's
me.
buffering like crazy.
What's that? Or is it?
Do you have low
Um,
Wi-Fi there?
it's not too bad. Is it reconnecting now?
Do you have bad Wi-Fi?
Don't think so.
Good now.
It's
It
good.
just needs a little time to catch up. It's like, don't talk so fast. I'm trying to figure it out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This
Yeah. I
might be
mean,
a
I think, I
controversial
think,
conversation.
I think that if you pulled out the internet from this whole conversation, it would be very different, right? I think that we're living in a world that is just tearing us to pieces with ideas and with ways to be. Like I notice it with my children. It's it's putting ideas in their head that they would have never thought up before. Of like fashion, of what of things they could do. Um, and you can look at it on one side and say, oh well, it's just opening up the kind of the window of the world to, and so you can see it all. But I'm like, I don't know if we were created to absorb that much. I don't know if we were created to see that much, like it's like having multiple partners. We weren't created for it. It's too much fucking headaches, It's like we're not, and I just feel like so stretched thin, burnt out, if I actually stop and think about it, by all the
Yeah.
things that I need to be, um, and not focusing enough on the things that I am.
Mm.
Like I am a lot. You know what I mean? Like I've got a ton of shortcomings for sure. Probably more on the feminine side, but on the masculine side, I think I'm doing all right.
Mm.
But the internet just sheds light on all the things that I'm not. And it's fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
Like I just wish there could be some, I don't wish this because my business would crash, but it's just created such a monster.
I think
Um,
what it's created is an illusion, because the illusion is that if I actually talk to my female friends about what we want from men, it's so old fashioned.
mhm.
Grassroots, women who are raising kids. We, I was laughing with this guy the other day. I was like, I just need a handyman, really. If I could just find a carpenter. Because I was saying about, now I'm single, what do I miss about marriage? I remember within marriage going, I'd be fine as long as I had a handyman. That's all I need. And that is just the honest truth. And every woman I speak to says the same thing.
Isn't
Just need
that
a
crazy?
handyman. That's all we care about.
You
And
should
then I
tell Tara that
realized
she's
I
got
could just
them.
pay a handyman and be single, because this is so much easier. If I'm raising kids alone and have a handyman and I might have to pay him, that's okay too. And we just realized, when you switch off all the shoulds and the illusion that's coming to us about
Mm,
all of the, even the, like politically correct bullshit, I don't experience that barely at all in actual conversations with people.
well, no.
People are still making
Mm,
outrageous jokes. They're
mm,
still doing and saying things that would get you cancelled if it was online, but it's
mm,
in person and no one's recording it.
mm,
And I'm talking with women who want very old fashioned things
mm,
and nothing's changed. And
mm,
the illusion is that online they're telling you this is how the world is now. This is what women want now, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think any of it's true. And
mm.
it's just,
No,
I
it's
remember
very thin.
Ari Schiffer, whatever he's called, that
Ari Shafir?
comedian.
Yeah.
Right. He's a Jew and he was on a show where they were saying, oh, are you getting a lot of flack as a Jew? He goes, no, all the flack is online. I
Mm,
don't get any issues from anyone in the street. No
mm,
one. He said, this reminds me of a friend that I've got that's a black guy, and he was spending a lot of time online and he was really feeling like there was a lot of racism around. And he went fly fishing one day, and this old guy from across the river started paddling towards him in his boat. And the black guy was like, oh, here we go. He's going to, basically say something racist to me. And the guy comes right up to him and he goes, you're doing your line wrong. Let me teach you how to fly properly. And the black guy was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. He was helpful. And
mm,
it kind of dispelled this online illusion that people are distrusting of black people, or that no one likes the Jews
mm,
anymore. And he said, it's not real. Normal people generally are good people.
mm,
And, what we're talking about here is probably very much still true, that
mm,
men and women want the same things they've always wanted. It's just that we're being bombarded by this messaging that actually that's all changed
mm,
now.
mm,
And And I
I
think
mean,
in Europe, the
yeah,
only reason why people are more politically correct in Europe is because they'll get fired if they're not.
and arrested now
Right.
in England.
So, but behind closed doors, they want to make inappropriate jokes. They've just been
Mhm.
conditioned. We don't do that anymore because we literally could get fired for that. But
Mm,
everyone wants to just let loose and say something really inappropriate.
yeah,
And out here, and probably where you are in the boonies, people are just as inappropriate as they always were, just sending each other really risque memes and jokes and like just having at
yeah.
it.
Comedy. Yeah,
Right.
well, learning to laugh at you. We take ourselves way too seriously. I mean, let's admit it.
Yeah.
Like everyone takes himself way that my feminism, my masculinity. It's just
Yeah.
like, we have to be able to laugh at ourselves and get back to that. And the rest of
Yeah.
it is just it's all bullshit. I mean, if you're a woman and you have a burst, you flatten your tire on the side of the road and it's pissing rain and you got to change your wheel. I don't care what you think, you're going to need a man to help you get that wheel off, and
Yeah.
you're going to
Totally.
desperately want a man to pull over. But if another woman, it's like, and
If
it's
a
like,
woman took over, I would literally go, I'm fucked. This is going to be so embarrassing and
but it's
awful.
okay to say that. I think we need to learn to, I need to learn to, love the feminine for what it contributes, and because that's what it really is. It's about noticing, right? Like someone said, what's the best thing you can give to your partner? All the marital stuff that you do is like a marriage counselor. He goes, just notice your partner. That's all your
Mm.
partner really wants to do, like,
Be
and
seen.
be seen. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like a man really wants to be seen for, like, I know for me, I just want to be seen for the manly things that I do.
Mm.
Lifting heavy stuff, building stuff, making stuff, fixing stuff. Just, I want to be seen.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
woman, I don't know what a woman wants, but probably wants to be seen for what
Well,
they,
they do.
yeah, like cooking meals. Even that's not like oh, so the wife only does the cooking. No, she's better at it than me. you
He's
know,
not build a barn,
and
let's
while
face it.
she's cooking, I'm outside in the pouring rain building something to
Right.
make our life better. So it's like not that one's better than the other. And I'm starving hungry and I'm super grateful that there's a hot meal to come into. And
Yeah.
that's all the payment I need. I don't need any. I'm happy to be out there, wrecking my body for the
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
as long as it gets recognized and noticed, it's totally fine. It
Mm.
was interesting. So Tara's learning to be a breathwork practitioner, and so she's doing these courses. And her teacher, who lives down island, comes up to the valley where I live once a month and does these breathwork things in this geodome. Those big
Mm.
see-through dome. So Tara's like, "Would you come with me?" And I'm like, "Sure, yeah, I'll come." So we went there. There's about 14 people. It was a monsoon, pouring rain. It's out in the middle of nowhere by this lake in this geodome with a crackling wood fire. We go in there, and just the rain on top of
Nice.
the geodome was amazing. And so it was a 3-hour session with 50 minutes of the breath work. So it was like a lot of teaching about what it does. And, it's incredible that just simply breathing can be this, like, do the same thing as mushrooms can do almost.
Mm.
But so everyone's in this circle and everyone's doing the breath work and everyone's having a completely different experience. Like one person over here is crying, one person's
Mm.
screaming, one person's laughing, one person's dancing. And for me, because I've had like multiple, I think 7 or 8 injuries, serious ones, and they're all on my left side, which is supposed to be your feminine side.
Mm.
And when I've ever had counseling before, it's the feminine that's been
Mm.
some of the issue. And I've been
Mm.
confused
Yeah.
about that and wondering what that is. And so I closed my eyes and started breathing, and my head kept moving to the left, and my arms were like doing all this stuff, and it was always all on my left side, and it was an interesting journey. The 50 minutes went by like fast, like felt like
Right.
10 minutes, and I felt my right side was like this concrete building. And I think in the past I've criticized my masculine a lot. Like, you're too much like this, you do too much of that, you're too focused, you're too driven. Um, and I just felt this like real peace, like, no, you need this side. Let that
Mm.
side alone. Stop ragging on it.
Mm.
You need this side. But my left side was like this forest with vines and organic and much more, in my mind's eye anyway. It was much more flowy
Mm,
and forested, and I just felt this like voice say to me, like, because I kept trying to understand what was going on, trying to figure out the conclusion of it all. And then I had this like big voice in me just saying, "Stop,
mm,
stop." Every time I would do that, I just said, "Stop. Just let me fix it. Just don't try and figure out the end of the story. Don't stop it." And so I was just like this like sense of like, I'm going to rebuild your feminine side, which is, I struggle with intimacy, I struggle with
mm,
closeness, struggle with affection, struggle because we weren't modeled that as children, right? And so that's always been a struggle for me. And I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, it's just like this yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine. But there was this that I noticed that I immediately wanted to criticize my right side, which was, it's like, no, 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 you need that. That's a good thing. That's all good,
mm.
like solid. Don't tear it down,
Yeah.
and just surrender to this side, and we'll
Mm.
figure this out, you know.
And I
But
wonder whether the
stop
feminine
trying to figure it out.
I wonder whether the feminine is actually your creative energy, the artistic part of you, because they often say like the feminine is more chaos as far as
Mm.
its life and its rebirth and its, all the things that the feminine represent is um I I it wouldn't surprise me, like the solid part of you is that methodical provision, get out there, do what you've got to do, stoic.
Mhm.
The other
Mhm.
side of you, which you probably think isn't very well developed because of all the things you focus on that you don't love, which is the struggle with intimacy, blah, blah, blah. But it's probably your most artistic. It actually, that you do have probably a very big portion of the feminine in you in the form of
Yeah.
artistic temperament.
Yeah, and that's what I was seeing, because I kept seeing, then I saw the forest, and I saw my farm, and then I was trying to, like, in my journey, I was trying to figure out, "Oh, so you're gonna download a plan for the farm. Is that what you're gonna do?" And he's like, "Stop.
No,
There you go again. There you go
you're
again,
not
trying
going
to
to
figure it
plan.
all out." You
Yeah,
know? And,
that's the truth.
yeah, so there's this real sense of, and then I could feel these tears coming on. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "Nah, not gonna
No,
do
don't.
you're not gonna do that." I did shed some tears, but I could feel, like, the big tears coming,
Yeah.
and I was like,
No, no,
I
no, no, no.
I
We'll have none of that.
yeah, we haven't got
Suppress.
time for that. Suppress that
It's
panic
just a waste
attack.
of time.
Yeah, but
That's
yeah,
interesting.
I think
It
the
kind of
tears were
comes
in,
in line with what we've been talking about in a way.
yeah, I guess it's balance, right? It's all balance, and stop striving so much, and
Well, I think what I've realized is I can be more masculine, but I don't enjoy it. So if a
no.
man's going to be neurotic and fearful and not be a man of his word and show me his weakness and force me to be strong and come into my masculine and
Mm,
go out and face the bear myself and protect the family, I can do that. But it's not a great outcome for him, for
no.
me, for society. I don't think it's the best outcome for a woman to be that much in her masculine that she's bushwhacking because A, you're going to think less of the man because you'll start to understand how weak he is. And also, you get so in your masculine that you lose touch with the feminine that is really an important part of, what we're here for is, what women can bring to the table
I mean,
you lose it.
there's always gonna be the exception, right? Like your Amelia Earhart, your Margaret Thatcher, your
Yeah.
very masculine, feminine people. But even Margaret Thatcher, like, cooked a nice roast beef and got
She
in the
went home to
kitchen.
cook dinner every night, a
Yeah.
casserole.
It's funny because my little star my company has been through, very well, just lots of ups and downs. And someone that was working for me jumped on a chat. And she's like, "Joby, I feel like we're kind of like drifting apart, the company, and we need some focus. And you've always been really good at just like bringing us back into, motivating us in a way." And I noticed in myself, and this was just yesterday, I was like, yeah, I've really, storms have a funny way of leaving their mark. Like, I don't know if storms make us crave more storms. I think they make us a bit nervous about getting even close to one, um, potentially. And so I feel like I have been through physically and mentally, just in all areas of my life, some really hard testing. And so have you, and we all have, but just speaking for myself. And it's left me a little, PTSD about so many areas of my life. Like now when I go up a ladder after breaking my back, I'm like, and those are good things, right? Like you double check, but it makes you feel a little bit nervous at the top of the ladder. And
Bit ginger.
yeah, so when, you take a situation like with Little Star where it's been through some really rough times, you endure it and you get through it. But I noticed that it's kind of left a bit of a bruise, and I'm a kind of afraid, or I just I've been kind of pushed it away a little bit. Said, "Oh, you've
Mm,
hurt me."
mm,
Uh, and you kind of close off maybe shut down my leadership. Maybe my leadership took in a slightly wrong direction, or I
mm,
didn't see a storm coming up, or, and so I've started to second guess myself. And then when she sent that message, I'm like, no, what the team wants that leadership. Cause I've got this inner critic that just says, you don't have anything important to say. You're not
mhm.
really, it's not really, when you share something that you think is like going to motivate them, it's sometimes not everyone's like, yeah. Everyone's
Yeah.
just like, so in my head, it was this big like transition thing. But then I realized, no, that they don't react in a way that's like super hyped, but deep down,
Yeah.
it's making a difference. And I'm like, oh, because Sam, he's like an Eeyore, right? Like Sam's like, yeah, I kind of like that idea of getting together and just talking about our vision. I'm like, what? So I would implement these things, and they would kind of not be really encouraged
Right.
in the
But
meeting. And
inside,
then
they're
so
like,
my inner critic would say, yeah, stupid idea, Joby. Like, who do you think you are? And so I shut
right.
it down. And now I'm realizing, oops, um, they might not react the way you want them to react, but deep down they want it. And
Yeah.
it's maybe the same in a relationship with a woman. It's like she might not, when I say go this way, we're going this way. Like when we said I want to move to the island, Tara didn't react in a okay, I'll follow you, hun. It was like tears,
Mm,
but
yeah.
deep down, I think she was admiring the sense of direction.
And this is
And
what I was
literally
saying.
years later, she comes out and says, I'm glad we did that.
Right.
She might never be able, because she's probably dealing with her own like issues of like the masculine. Like I'm never going to tell him it was like all him. It was like, what, or but it works or something. I don't
Well, this is what I'm getting at. That employee who reached out was basically saying to you, "We need you to be strong. Can you
know.
be strong for us and lead us?" And that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about, where it doesn't have to be your life partner. Maybe the masculine and the men and women are basically looking at men going, "Please be strong. And if you're
Mm,
not, we'll be really upset." Like
mm,
your team want you to be that. And they're not going to be like, every time you do it, go, "Well, yeah, you're being strong," like give you this cheer. They're
mm,
quietly going to feel safe. And that's
mm,
what, as a woman, I'm looking for. He can protect me, whether he's a partner, a brother, a friend, someone in the street. I'm looking for male protection. And if you're signaling strength to me, I think that you might be a safe person because you're
mhm,
showing me that you've got this. And so your team are like, has he got this? Can you just reassure us that you've got this and do something to show you're strong? And they might not be, that was pretty articulate of her to do that, but not everyone's got the skill to even articulate that. But she did that, which is really cool. And it's telling me everyone's looking to that person to be strong and wants them to be. And I like,
mm,
yay, I want men to be strong. Your team
mm,
want you to be a leader and
mm.
they want you to overcome your insecurity and just get on with it. And that just,
Yeah,
to
and I
me,
think as a
that's
leader,
what's so
you
amazing
have
about it.
yeah, and as a leader, you have to get over the fact that they're not going to say that's what we want in those words.
Yeah.
Like that's why I love that show Black Sails. It just it was such a great kind of explanation of or a representation of like the different forms of leadership. You remember that show?
Yeah.
Yeah, and who was the guy with the red hair, red beard, red black? I can't remember. It was a pirate show. It's one
Mm.
of my favorites. Still, my favorite series. Um, but the crew it's a democracy, so the crew get to vote the captain in or out. So he's always on the knife edge of whether he might lose his captain ship. But they would always vote the guy that was a little bit stoic, wasn't really friends with the crew,
Right.
a bit of a pain in the ass, like really like didn't show his feelings. But when they were in the thick of battle or when there was a storm to go through, he made the right call. And so they kept
Mm,
voting him back in because they're like, yeah, we do kind of want a bit more of a friendly captain. Someone's a bit kinder to us, but fuck me.
mm,
When we're in a storm, when we're in a battle, which we will be, he's the
mm.
man that makes the call that no one
Right.
wants to make. And so they vote him back in again, you know.
Yeah. And
Um,
they'll bitch and complain about
so
all of his shortcomings, but ultimately he delivers when he has to. And that's what I'm
yeah.
saying women are looking for in men, and we don't want them to drop the ball. Please don't drop the ball. Please be strong. And I'm sure
Mhm.
if we were to have a discussion about what men are looking for in women, I mean, this has mostly been focused on men, but there would be a set of things that men desperately want women to showcase. Like I think nurture is a huge one for men.
Gabe doesn't want to watch anything too dramatic before bed because he can't fall asleep. So we end up watching all these documentaries on, sports and stuff. So we're watching one right now on NASCAR, which I have no idea the rules of NASCAR. It's an American, Southern
Mm,
American, hey buddy, cat, um, sport. Cars going round and round and round circles, and so the documentary, you see the wives of the men who race the cars, and they're just like they speak about their husbands with so much pride. Um, and they're hot and they're
mm,
and they're in shape, obviously,
mm,
but it's like this. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what makes a woman sexy to a man. Obviously, aesthetics are a thing,
mm,
and the way I look down the beach and see the curve. You can
mm,
look at that and say, "Oh, I'm just a two-dimensional
mm,
pig."
mm,
Okay, if you want to think that, go ahead, but I'm not that. But
mm,
that is where it's like when you look at a
mm.
piece of art and you say that's beautiful art, why do you think that's beautiful? I don't know. Who put that inside you? Why do you think that art is where someone else looks at the art and thinks, but for me, that shape jumps out at me for
Mm,
some reason and I can't explain why, you know. But I think what's attractive to me when I look at um uh on television, for instance, another family operating is just like this admiration for the man. It's like
mm,
this is my strong man.
mm.
And I'm sure there's shit going on behind the scenes and all that stuff, but that initially jumps out at me as like, oh, that's sexy. That's like something, a food that I crave for in a way.
Yeah.
And I think that is there. And aesthetics, why are they a thing? I don't know. Is it because back in the day we were looking for someone to bear children and to be able to run away from a wild animal? Maybe. I don't know why that's there, but that's just there.
Well, it's
Um,
signaling fertility, just like for a man that's tall. If I meet a man that's shorter than me, I'll instantly, "Bloop, no way, never,
even if
never."
it's Tom Cruise.
Even more so if it's Tom
I know
Cruise.
he's a wacko. But what
Um,
what attracted me to Tara was obviously aesthetically I was drawn to
mm,
her, but we sat down for breakfast after the first time I met her, she sat at the table with me and we could tell there was some sparks and she had to get her food to go because she had to go diving because she was going to be a dive instructor. And
mm.
I was like, "Oh, that's sexy." Because
She's
she
going
wasn't
places.
Yeah, well, because she wasn't like just like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not going to go dive because I'm with this man and I can feel some
Mm,
spark. I'm going to shelve the other thing." It's like she had purpose. And so
mm,
I think that, yeah, a woman wants a man with purpose. I think for me anyway, I find it very attractive when a woman has purpose.
mm,
Um, it might not be the same type of masculine type of purpose, but it's like, feels like, for me, follow through is really important. Like the same way you look at a man and think, oh, I want that man to say, oh, I'm not going to wear a mask and then follow through.
mm,
Um, I find the lack of follow through really unsexy,
mm.
and I've struggled with that in my relationships and I've had to come to terms with the fact that, don't hold the bar so high. But when someone
Yeah.
says, I'm not going to eat chocolate anymore for a
Mm.
month, and then the next day I see them eating chocolate, it's not, I'm just like, a bit
That's
disappointed.
disappointing.
That's disappointing, not because you're eating chocolate and maybe getting overweight from eating chocolate. It's just like you didn't do what you said you were going to do.
Exactly. It's
And I find
flaky.
that, and I think
They're
in both,
signaling flakiness.
yeah, in both camps,
Mhm.
flakiness is so unattractive, even for
I know.
friendships. So I think it's in the whole mix,
Yep.
even like man to man friendships, man to woman
Yep.
friendships. It's just like, do what you say you're going to do. If you're not going to do
100%.
it, don't say it. But if you're going to stand on top of the mound and say, this is what I'm doing,
Like
fucking
if a
do it.
man said to me, "If Carney gets into power, I'm leaving Canada," and I'm thinking, "Bullshit, you're leaving Canada." But
Yeah.
then Carney gets in, he goes, "I'm moving to Mexico." You know how I said I was leaving if Carney got in? I'd be like, "Wow,
Yeah.
admiration."
Mm,
Just huge because they've got
it's fair.
balls.
Yeah.
And I think, men obviously appreciate that in women when women are like, yeah, I just decided to get on and do it by myself because no one else was doing it, entrepreneurship, whatever. What I notice is the older men get, the more they appreciate those qualities in a woman.
Mm,
Because if you have those qualities when you're young, you can actually intimidate men a lot. And I'm noticing that when I was in my early 20s, men were like they were intimidated by me because I was kind of like, just get up and go do stuff.
mm,
But now men of my age actually appreciate the things that I do more because they're less insecure, maybe, and they realize actually having a woman who's capable is really useful. So
mm.
what I wonder what you saw in Terra, what she was signaling to you. Would you have still thought that as an 18-year-old, or was it your life experience that then landed you at this point where you're like, I really appreciate a woman with some get up and go? I
I
don't
think I
know.
always
You
I think
always did
I appreciated human beings
with
with
right.
that said I had a very low regard, and I still do, for anyone who says they're gonna do something and doesn't do it. And it's a problem when you're raising children because they say a lot and don't do a lot.
Mm,
So I've had to learn to lighten up a little bit. But like yesterday, I got out of my I got out of my truck, I got Gabe's bike because he had to go to bike camp and it was pouring rain,
mm.
8 degrees outside. And I'm like, and no, there was no other dudes. All the dads didn't show up. They just dropped their kids and drove off, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like there in the rain. I'm like, I had all my gear on. And
You'd be
Gabe's like,
like, pussies.
yeah, yeah. And Gabe's like, just don't, just go to a coffee shop, dad, and pick me up after. Like he wasn't pressuring me to
Yeah.
go. And I was like, well, it's like Rogan says, the inner bitch started to
Yeah.
really talk loudly and say, well, that sounds attractive. And I
Yeah.
just got on the bike and started riding up the hill. And it wasn't until I was, quarter way up did I actually engage and thought, okay, I can do this. But the rest of it was just fucking inner war. But I was like, I have to do this. If you give an inch, it will take a mile. That inner bitch will take a
Mm,
mile. And it's not only, it's for me, for my own self-respect, but it's also for my son to,
mm,
if I'd have stayed home, he would have, of course, he would have loved me just the same.
mm.
But there's this like little increments that can be gnawed off of this of
Yeah.
the respect, and my kids, they laugh about the fact that I'm, wrap my arm up in a bandage and keep on working, don't go to the hospital and sit there and pout. I just like fucking just keep on going. And they laugh about it, but deep down, they really respect it. And it's showing them, like Raven now says to me, my oldest son now messages me and says, Dad, you've taught me to be a good worker. And now I'm seeing that
Mm,
other people are looking at me and saying, you're a good, and so that's what got me on the bike and got me riding up the hill.
mm.
It was like, this isn't a big win, but if you give an inch, it will take a mile. And I think that a lot of people really need to know, like, you have to continually fucking put yourself, yeah,
Yeah.
it's taming that inner bitch, because that inner bitch will just say, nah, just go and get hot chocolate.
Mm,
And then next time it will be easier, and the next time it'll be easier. And so yeah, I
mm.
have respect for human beings in general across the board who do what they say you're gonna do. So if you know in your head you're not gonna do it, you're probably not gonna do it, don't profess it. That's
Yeah.
all I can
Just
say.
don't say it. And when they
If you want
start
to
to
be
say it, like,
attracted to the
please
other
don't.
sex, or if you want your friends to
Anyone.
respect you, yeah, anyone, keep it inside. But
Yes.
if you think there's a chance that you might do it, then you are going to be your friendships are going to grow stronger.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with that.
your
Yeah. And
relationships are going to grow.
we're all looking to be signaled strength, it's data points. So when you're getting on the bike doing that, consciously you're racking up data points in
Mm,
Gabe's psyche, because when he goes out into the world, for example, when Amelia starts meeting men who are more precious about injury, she's going to be
mm,
like, man. Man
Mm.
up. My dad would flip in, did it? And they're like, oh, your fucking dad. Yeah, no one can
I
compare
know.
with
But
him.
yeah, you are modeling, right? You are modeling
Yeah,
to them what a
what the
man should be,
masculine is. And then they're going to meet men who are pussies and go, what the fuck? And these poor guys who kind of try and live up to your dad. Oh, yeah, here we go again. Your dad. My dad would still, go out and build a barn with half his leg chopped off.
I know. I was we were riding up this mountain. It's like an hour and a half climb, pouring rain. I bump into this big group, Gabe's group of kids. There's like 14 of them. So I'm like, can I tag along with you guys? Like I don't want to. And they're like, sure, yeah, And they're all just like, I can't feel my fingers. I can't feel my. Like we were going through puddles that were
Hmm.
over our feet. It's like crazy deep. And so I just started singing, right? Like, I love this weather,
Yeah.
but like as we were descending, fast, I was just the kid in front of me was like, I hate this weather. I'm like, no, you don't, you love it.
Yeah.
And it yeah, it was bringing, yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know where that was going,
Well, you're
but
bringing the
yeah,
humor to
I
the
think
suffering.
I think that's the message, right? We're probably all looking for
We're
let your yes be yes.
signaling all day long. We're signaling to people
Hmm. Well,
about
even
where we are in the hierarchy of competence or desirability. It's just non-stop signals, I think.
Well, even Jesus said, right? He's like, if I'd rather you be hot or cold, but if you're lukewarm, I'd spit you out of my mouth.
Right.
It's like even God didn't like this, like wishy-washy, neither here nor
Mm,
there. Either say,
mm,
nope, not doing it, or yes, I'm
mm.
doing it, and
I'm
then you
all
do
in.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Be one or the other, but the in-between, which I think our world is riddled with, this kind
Right.
of like, because how dare you criticize me for not, oh, you calling me fat? You know, so they villainize you if you call them out on their wishy-washiness.
Yeah.
Um, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting conversation. I think
Mm,
there's no escaping that we're designed to look for those things. It doesn't matter how
mhm,
much bombardment we get,
mhm.
it's still very much alive.
Or do you think an animal is going to look at another animal that's lame and think, oh, well,
Yeah.
that's a bit
Yeah,
all
I
right, isn't
know.
it? They go,
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
that. He's going to get taken out. I want a strong lion to protect my cubs.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's the primal nature of us that we're looking for a show of
Hmm.
strength still.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't think you can escape that.
You can pretend it's not there, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All
there
right.
we go. Figured it out. Love you.
Infinite wisdom.
I don't know. If that's what instead of modern wisdom, we should up Christopher Williamson. Ours is
Yeah.
infinite wisdom.
More wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Ultimate
Yeah.
wisdom. All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Love you, Abs.
I love you.